Everyone knows breakups can be messy, but how far would you go to get back at an ex?
You've heard of the term getting catfished, when someone poses as someone else online so they can trick their victim into dating them. But this woman allegedly catfished herself so she could frame her ex. Lisa Marie Garcia was charged with impersonating her former flame and then sending threatening messages from fake social media profiles and fake phone numbers. The plan? To make it look like her ex-boyfriend was threatening her life. And it worked. Lisa's ex, Brandon Barrett, went to jail at least 7 times in just 10 days. A breakup gone bad, a stolen identity, and a crime you didn't commit. Is this a legitimate fear in 21st century dating?
It's hard to think that charges were apparently filed against her ex-boyfriend at least 7 times in a 10-day period.
Before they caught on that.
Yeah.
But I guess they thought that he was some sort of serial.
Well, she was creating fake social media accounts so that it actually seemed like they were coming from him. And I think in this day and age of whistleblowers and silence breakers where women are so being encouraged to come forward, it was really hard for the police not to take her seriously. And you know, I think that's a really tough thing, but it's horrible that she would abuse it like this. I mean, it's just...
Because then, for people who are truly victims,
exactly,
this is that example of someone who is abusing the system, so to speak.
She's a scorned woman, can be a scorned man, and that's difficult for anybody.
Right.
But there are better ways to deal with it.
Well, and more than scorn, better ways. Like allegedly, this seems like someone who has some type of personality disorder.
Absolutely.
That you do not want to date.
Right, and the first thing I think of is narcissistic personality disorder. It's an actual disorder in our DSM, and there are a lot of warning signs. So first of all, there is a huge overlap with antisocial personality disorder, which we've talked a lot about on this show. Sometimes we talk about them as psychopaths, but there's some additional unique warning signs as well. They are always wanting to talk about themselves. It's like they can't handle it when the conversation's on someone else, and they really believe that they are entitled to a fantasy world of power, success, beauty, and the really, really scary thing too is that they never take responsibility for anything that they've done. So you actually can see this on a first date. If somebody's late for a date and they say, well, you know why I was late? It was because my neighbor was in the way. I mean, they have a list of excuses that have nothing to do with them leaving late. That's already a little bit of, what's going on here that you can never cop up to something that you've done. We all make mistakes.
And if that first date conversation is all me, what I did, I went to the gym and I'm up to 50 reps now.
They tend to be more thrill-seeking. They tend to have more sexual partners as well. So those are other kind of worrisome signs if someone's kind of just a little too much. And also, I think another sign, the sexual chemistry is almost too good.
Well, in the beginning, but all narcissists will start turning it back on themselves, and so eventually they become horrible sexual partners because then it's all about me, my satisfaction and not the partners.
But I think in the case of this woman, she is now facing a felony count of retaliation as well as
I am surprised it took 7 times.
My
to figure
understanding
out.
is that she basically was in an ongoing way complaining about threats, and they were occurring while he was in custody. So the police figured out there's no way this is fake, and that was the unraveling of this case.
Yeah, well, and I think, you know, some tips for people who are dealing with manipulative exes, I mean, sometimes that happens, there's a dramatic breakup, is you do have to really just ignore anything that comes your way, because if you get entangled, somehow that turns against you, even as a piece of evidence. So no matter what they do to pull you in, there's a drama that's happening, or I love you, I want you back, you just have to ignore it. And if you do have a need to speak to this person, because maybe you have a shared custody of a child, keep it really specific and have boundaries. I will hear sometimes people say, well, so-and-so texted me at 3 a.m. That does not mean that you have to respond to them at 3 a.m. Wait till the morning, proper hour, respond and be very specific. Yes, no, don't get into any other types of things that might pull you in.
And then, Dr. Judy, aren't there all these, that's great advice, aren't there all these other online forums now. Like, I understand there's a whole Reddit community of people who are talking about, like, how to even deal with exes who threaten to kill themselves. I mean, I'm just like, this seems like a complete new frontier.
I know, and I think that people don't realize that there's so many people going through it. Now that we have social media, everyone's talking about it. And I think that support is helpful.
Share it.
Yeah, and I think that support is helpful, but really, if you're actually feeling afraid, please tell local authorities, please tell the police so that they can actually have a record of it.